Hey! Welcome to another one of these quick discussion videos. Today's video is mostly going to be talking about why the prequel trilogy is an underrated masterpiece. Now, you technically hear everybody saying, like, the original trilogy is the best, and, you know, it's the gods, it's basically the gods of Star Wars, essentially, but in today's video, I'll be trying to convince you guys why the prequel trilogy is an underrated masterpiece, and let me know in the comments below whether you guys agree or disagree, and whether I persuaded you to see the prequels in a new way. Anyway, so starting on, the first thing I have to talk about is that the prequel trilogy, yes, has a few bad areas. Now this usually evolves around politics, Jar Jar, even more Jar Jar, and a couple of dialogue issues. Now, apart from those things, prequel trilogy, absolute masterpiece, but there, that's why. The end. No, I'm joking. The overall story of the prequel trilogy is mostly going on about Anakin's fall to the dark side, you know, how he became from a tiny not but a slave boy on Tatooine to the villain that we all know and love, Darth Vader, who is in himself has quite a journey and is obviously had tragedy. He's had an awful lot of tragedy in his life. But delving into our next category here, we'll be going over some of the characters. Now, the main characters, we obviously have Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Yoda, Palps, good old Palps there. You can't have a trilogy without Palps. Maul, Dooku, and of course, Jar Jar. Yeah, so those are the main characters. Obviously, we get an awful lot more character development on Obi-Wan. We get to see how Anakin falls to the dark side. Padme, we kind of see why Anakin falls rather than how, because we kind of see that throughout Anakin's life it's about tragedy, it's about how his attachments led to the dark side. And Yoda, obviously we get a little bit more about him. We get to finally see him in a lightsaber duel after all these years. I think it's been like, I can't be bothered doing the maths, but it's been a while. But yeah, obviously we get to see a little bit more of Palps, tyrant, big massive big guy in this trilogy. He is just a massive or master manipulator. He is one of the best characters, or well developed characters in this trilogy. He just has so much to him, and we finally get to see how he managed to become Emperor and basically the top of the Star Wars galaxy. Now moving on, we of course have scenery. Now, what is a film without its great sets and its great scenery? We of course have lots and lots of beautiful skies. These usually include multiple different beautiful skies of Coruscant, Tatooine, which we kind of get to see Attack of the Clones, and we obviously get to see a little bit more about Luke's lineage a bit through the prequel trilogy here. We also get Naboo, which is basically the city of 1,000 waterfalls, or Theed is the city with 1,000 waterfalls, but still, you get my point. But obviously you have lots and lots of skies. It's basically the perfect Earth or something like that. We obviously get Kamino. I mean, like, Kamino has the best looking sky you can see. It's clearly beautiful, and obviously is what everything wants. Well, everybody wants from a planet. And then we of course have Mustafar, which is the worst planet you have ever seen. It's just absolutely disgusting. You have beans everywhere. You have, well, yeah. Joking aside, Mustafar is an amazing planet. It's essentially big massive lava planet, and yeah. Anyway, so moving on, we of course have music. Music is more or less Battle of the Heroes, which is one of the best soundtracks of all time. You can literally not think of Star Wars and think you can't not think about this theme. It is just absolutely incredible and really creates a scene of Anakin versus Obi-Wan, which is essentially brother versus brother. I had to think about that for a minute. Next one here is, of course, Duel of the Fates. Duel of the Fates, badass as hell. And sorry for all you, well, it's basically beautiful masterpiece. John Williams was really on fire with his soundtrack, and it's just one that everybody can listen to over and over and over again. Next one here is, of course, the Jedi Temple March. I mean, like, this thing just really gets your heart pumping. It gets envisioning of an army, especially the 501st, which are now famed for the Operation Nightfall, which is essentially the destruction of the Jedi Order and the rise of the Empire. And the soundtrack for this just really goes well. It goes extremely well with the marching of the 501st, and it eventually leads into the Order 66 theme. Next one here is, of course, the action / the lightsaber duels. We get an awful lot of action in the prequels. We obviously have the very first lightsaber duel that was extremely fast-paced, where it was Jedi in its prime. And that was, of course, Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Obviously, feed generators, badass music, with the Duel of Fates in the background. And yeah, it's just all overall one of the best lightsaber duels in this trilogy. We, of course, have Dooku versus Anakin and Obi-Wan, plus Yoda later on. This is mostly significant due to the fact that it's the first time that we see Yoda ever wield a lightsaber, and it's just amazing. I mean, like, the scene is just mind-blowing. You wouldn't expect an old frail Jedi Master who's at least 800 years old to fight like an absolute badass. Next one here is, of course, Dooku again, with Anakin versus Obi-Wan again. So it's basically Anakin's last push to the dark side in terms of him going against Dooku, and it really sets the scene for the rest of the film. Next one here is, of course, Yoda versus Sidious, where you, of course, have... Okay, my mind's went blank, but obviously you have the Senate duel, which is incredible. The soundtrack has a little bit of Duel of Fates mixed in with Battle Heroes, which is just phenomenal. Both of the best soundtracks you'll ever hear in this trilogy. Next one here is, of course, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, the biggest duel you will ever see in this trilogy. It's brother versus brother, it has lava, it has more lava, and it eventually leads to Darth Vader finally revealing himself as, well, Anakin's final turn to the dark side, and we see how he managed to become Darth Vader with all his cybernetics, his burnt face, and yeah. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Of course, let's be honest, this video was kind of a joke, but yeah, to be honest, I do kind of feel as if the prequel trilogy is one of my favourite trilogies, but then again, the original trilogy is just absolutely God, or basically a haven. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Of course, if you do like the content you see here, please comment and subscribe, and yeah, peace out.